How long was Joe dead, Sarah?
Oh, Joe's dead. God, Joe's dead a long time. Joe must be 10 years dead.
I never met Joe now.
No.
Heard his name mentioned.
Oh, it's a pity you didn't meet him. He could have played the fiddle, you know, and all as well.
Is that right?
Aye. And he lived on his own, and you never seen a tidier man.
Apparently Len Graham was saying, you remember last Saturday night about the...
Aye, that's right.
About Geordie asking him who done his linen.
That's right. Geordie asked him who done his washing. But Geordie and him and Len used to go to down to Dublin, you know, to sing in Trinity College and down there and to the down to
as well.
Aye, and down to the university there in Belfast or down in Queens many a time.
Yes.
Aye, singing for the students and all.
Mind you, not often a man living on his own would be.
Well, you never seen as tidy a man. His trousers was pressed, his jacket, his shirts, his shoes, and Lord, he used to keep the shoes just shining. Oh, he was a great
Great to see him on tidy.
Oh, very, 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 very tidy man. Yeah. Tidiest man I've ever. To live on his own is one of the tidiest people I ever met.
And what did he do for a living, or did he make his living?
Oh well, he was retired when I met him. You know,
yeah.
He was. I don't know now what he worked at, but he was a very nice creeper. Aye.
You were saying earlier, Sarah, about the time Geordie and you would run about the flaws that people around this part of the country thought you were mad.
Aye.
And what did one of the neighbours say you were running away to?
Out Carefools.
Carefools.
Aye, that's right. They weren't, you know, people weren't as didn't know that much about the black clothes then, you know.
They weren't as popular.
No, not as popular as what they are today, you know. Everybody now knows about the flower, but that time there weren't so much, you know.
Word about them?
No, but I used to go to there would always be in Clonus. There was always one in Clonus nearly, you know, they were in Clonus brave and often, weren't they?
Aye, one of the first big ones.
Aye, there was.
Aye,
and I was in Boiling Roscommon and in Cashel and in Listowel and in...
apparently that was a great flaw that the year it wasn't Boyle.
Aye, in Boyle.
Believe it was a good one.
That's right. We were all over at all them flowers. Thought nothing of going. Just couldn't wait to get away, that was it.
Wanted to get away.
Wanted to get away. And Buncrana. It was 2 or 3 years in Buncrana was a great spot for it, you know.
It was.
Aye.
It was handy for us in this part of the country.
It was. And then there was a great place for parking the caravans down along the beach.
That's right.
It was great down there. And they had a great place for the Cayley bands. A place with a balcony and all on the big
the only thing there used to be a shortage of was water. The water used to get short in our team.
Aye, well, I didn't know about that, but I thought Buncrana was a great place for it. I enjoyed going to Buncrana. Your man has a lovely song about there, the fella plays the accordion. Patsy Fard has a song about going to the Flan in Buncrana. Aye. Well, Geordie and me went there too. And Geordie's wife went to an odd one as well, you know. Anna and me nearly always went, but there was an odd time she wouldn't just maybe it didn't suit her to go, don't you know. But I never will forget Geordie and Anna May and me going to the flower in Kilkenny. And we went to the flower office to see where we could get accommodation.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, we're sent to this young woman out the road. Oh, a lovely bungalow and a lovely young woman with a wee girl about 1.5 years. So she said she had a couple staying, and like she hadn't, she just was doing it for the weekend of the fly, you know.
She didn't normally keep.
No.
Yeah.
So I suppose she just hated that these flower people would nearly stay anywhere.
Somebody at the door.
So as I say that who was this young woman, you know, had heard these flower people, you know, as long as they get their head down, that's all right, you know. So she says till us that would the three of you mind sharing the one room?
Yeah.
We said not at all, as long as we didn't want to have to. It was near the town and we hadn't too far to travel, and it was just ideal.
Yeah.
It was just outside the town. Of course Geordie had his car with him, but anyway, well, she said that'll be your room, and she said I'll have 3 single beds in there. She says for you the night when when you come in, and I'll leave the key. And she made us tea. Oh, she was a real nice woman. She made us tea and all, and we were mad to get up the town. It was on a Friday to see to the music to get in to see what was going on. So away we went, and showed us where, and we weren't back to 2 o'clock in the morning, and her and her husband and the wee girl and all would have been in bed, and we didn't want to be making any noise with a child in the house, you know. So we come in as gently as we could, and into the room, and these 3 beds was in a row. But what were they? There were 3 of them, you know, they're a sun lounger thing that you see in a garden there that you could lay on.
They were a canvas, I think.
Tubular steel thing with a bit of canvas just on, and there was no mattress nor nothing, just that. And I think there was a sheet over the bit of canvas, and I think a continental quilt or something over us. I forget now.
Better on the floor nearly.
Anyhow, we seen them, and we didn't, like at that time in the morning you weren't going to, you just were going to lay down and that was it. But Geordie, he sat down on the edge of his to take off his shoes and socks, and the first thing when Geordie sat down, you see the folded in the middle, it just went up like that there.
The flappers. Yeah.
And Geordie was left sitting down on the floor with one side up and the other side this road here, and him sitting looking up at Anna May and me as much as to say,
what sort of a thing is it?
well, Anna May and me into the laughing, and if he had have been, honest to God, if he had have been a hanging, we couldn't have saved him. We laughed that much, and we're afraid to laugh if we're waking the people.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got it straightened up anyway. And we got down onto these things, and no matter what road you turned, this tubular thing was hitting your knees. Now it was an uncomfortable night we put in. So we got up the next morning anyway, and the young woman says to us, well, how did you sleep? Well, I says, tell her, listen, daughter dear, I could not sleep on that now. I says, that's all right, I says, for somebody young. That'll do a young person all right. Young people can sleep anywhere, but I says, I couldn't sleep on that at all. And she was all upset, no doubt. And Geordie then, he came out, and she says to Geordie, well, she says, how did you sleep? And Geordie says, to tell you the truth, I never was as glad to see morning. So
he wasn't comfortable.
That said it all. So then the next night, she says, I'm awful sorry about that. She says, I wasn't really prepared for you at all. And she said, I'm sorry, but then the next night, we're real comfortable from that on.
She put bed
in she did, it was great. It was great after that.
Kilkenny was a good town for a flower.
It was,
I like Kilkenny.
And she gave us flasks of water, it was and all for to make tea during the day, and lovely, she was a really nice woman. But I'll never forget that first night. And the laughs of Anna May and me at Geordie sitting down on the,
I thought what you were going to tell me was the legs and a wee bit from the end. I thought maybe Geordie had sit on the end of it and it healed up.
No, just where it folds up in the middle, It wasn't properly put up. And as soon as Geordie sat down on it, it just went up like that there.
Oh, you'd be safer on the floor.
Lord, but we laughed hearty at him that night, honest to God. The last time we were in Kilkenny there, we were in a great place. Oh, we had lovely digs the last time we were in Kilkenny. Just out at the back of the Clubhouse Hotel. You could have went out through the back door of the hotel, through the hotel car park, out onto the road, and just when you went out through the back gate, you wouldn't have hardly noticed it. There was a wee wooden gate just went in, it just was a hedge, and then just like that there. And it was down and laying in the loveliest cottage.
Is that right?
Oh, it was the loveliest place. It was lovely.
I didn't get the last floor in Kilkenny at all.
Oh, it was lovely. We were well fixed. And we just had to walk, you know, a few yards, and we're just into the centre of everything that was going on. And yet we weren't in the town, you know what I mean? It was lovely, a lovely place. There's
Well,
no
you were
usual.
saying you got back into the digs the first year and you came about 2 o'clock. That'd be early to get in.
Aye, that was early, that was early.
That's
Well,
early
you
then.
see, we were tired after travelling, don't
Aye,
you
it's
know?
a long
And we
out
didn't
going,
stay too late
Yeah.
because we had Saturday and Sunday and Monday and on, don't you know? We're staying on till Tuesday.
What year would you went to the first floor? Well, you wouldn't mind.
Oh God, I couldn't tell you. When I went to the
You're
first floor.
probably going to from the very start, from the 50s anyway, wouldn't you?
Well, I'm going a long time anyway. I'm going a good while now to the flowers. There's no doubt about that. I made a session in Maher, and it was in July, and we had a field of hay down, and I was making black corn jam. A fella called Mulgrew from Dungannon, I'll tell you who has his pub now, Mick Devlin, the Fort. That pub in
Yes.
Dungannon you call the Fort in Scottsdale. Well, there's a man owned that called Mulgrew, and Mulgrew took over Maher Hotel, and he had a traditional session in it. And I left the hay and the black corn jam and the whole thing. And away I went to Maher. And that was a great night. You know, there was a fella alive that time. I don't know if you ever heard tell of him or not. He was in a group called the Jolly Tinker Men. Norman Hobson. Did you ever hear tell of Norman Hobson?
I've heard of him now, but I never met him.
Aye, Norman's dead now a long time. Norman took leukemia.
Peter Sherry would have been in it.
Peter Shea, I knew him. Well, Peter wasn't in it at that time. There was John
he not?
Mitchell. There was John Mitchell and Sean McCluskey and Sean Dines and Norman. I have a photo in there here somewhere in the house. I couldn't tell you where it is now, but Norman was a lovely fiddle player. A lovely. He played a thing called Fiddlers Heaven, and I've never heard a fiddler playing it.
Alright.
No. Oh no, I never heard anybody playing Fiddlers Heaven, only Norman Hobson himself.
Well, here was there a gramophone about your house when you were young?
He was a Quaker. Aye, there was a gramophone in nearly in every house that time. Well, not every, but a lot of houses round about, you know, there was a
Would you have
gramophone.
any of those records there?
There's 2 or 3 old records there, all right, somewhere. Mm-hmm. Old 78s.
They're getting scarce now.
There, aren't they? Oh, surely. Oh, aye, sure. The first gramophone that come to the neighbourhood where I lived, sure, we thought it was great. And we would be looking to go, we were learning to dance that time. And there's a girl called Ellen McGuinness, and she was an only girl, and her mother bought a gramophone. And you know there was the big white tiles in the kitchen floor that time. You'd sooner dance to hole in the sole of your shoe, you know, with the big flag tiles.
Oh, a yellow coloured one.
Mm-hmm.
Big quarry one.
Aye. And she had a gramophone. And the mother used to go to Dungannon on a Thursday, and she'd always bring home a new record in a box of needles. And you won it up, and his master's voice, a big horn and all on it, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. We lived in that, every opportunity we got, we were away to hear the gramophone. And then the neighbours would be in, and there'd be a dance in the house in no time at all. We're all up dancing, and learning to do the sets and the lancers now. Goodbye Mick and goodbye Pat and goodbye Kate and Mira. That was one of the, that was on it. A whole lot of other ones too. There was a great cowboy singer at that time called Jimmy Rogers. And that's the first time that song I heard out again now, Old Pal. I'm thinking tonight of you, old pal, and wishing that you were here. And the bright silvery light of the moon. Them was all the go that time, you know. But I hear Old Pal, somebody has it out again, but just a wee bit different. But he was real good at it. I'm sure you've heard Old Pal.
Oh, I did. I did. Well, what about singing us a song your father would have sang, sir?
My father sung Dublins Fairy Vale.
Right, sure, give us a bit of it.
God is alone.
It'd be an Armagh song, wouldn't it?
Surely.
That's it.
Aye. One morning fair, as Phoebus bright, her radiant smiles displayed, as Flora in her verdant garb, the green fields she arrayed. As I did rove throughout each grove, no care did me assail, when a pair I spied by a river side, in Dublins flowery vale. As I sat down them to behold, beneath a spreading tree, the limpid streams that gently rolled conveyed these words to me. Farewell, sweet maid, the youth he said, for it's now I must set sail, and I'll bid adieu to Armagh and you, and Dublin's flowery vale. For bear these thoughts and cruel words than wound a bleeding heart, for isn't true that we have met here, alas, so soon to part. Must I alone here sigh and moan, till none my grief reveal, but here lament my cause to vent in Dublin's flowery vale. Now there's many a youth has left their homes and steered for freedom's shores, and now lies in a silent town where foaming billows roar. Take my advice and don't forsake, or leave me to bewail, but here remain with your fond dame in Dublin's flowery vale. Oh, do not think that you're alone, or yet that I'm untrue, for although that I am far away, my thoughts will be of you. There is not a flower in shady bower, by verdant hill or dale, but will me remind of my love that's behind in Dublin's flowery vale. Then mutual love together drew, both in a fond embrace, whilst the tears like rosy drops of dew then trickle down her face. She strove in vain him to detain, but while she didn't bewail, he bid adieu, and I withdrew from Dublin's flowery vale. It's a long one, isn't it?
Good on you. It's a nice song too.
Yeah.
Your father would have sang that one.
That's the thing about the ballads. They're all very long. They're a bit long now. Huh?
There's a good story to them besides these things that I'm sure of.
Is that? Uh-huh. What way does this thing work anyway?
There's a tape on her.
I suppose that'll be an expensive bit of gear.
They're not as bad as they used to be. You'd buy one on there for about £1,000.
Jesus, 1,000.
Expensive enough for the board, but you'd have sound and picture and everything.
Ah, no, right, lad. It's great, isn't it?
No, it'd have been great today. It'd have been 50 years ago.
Ah, well.
Did you know Master McDermott at all?
Master
The
McDermott.
fiddler. Never had. Probably 4 year time, Master. I mean, not sure when he did.
Oh,
He was a famous fiddler too.
I never, I didn't know him at all. I knew a good Lachlan, but I didn't know him now.
There's another song both you and Geordie would sing it, wouldn't you? Is it Lisburn Lass?
Mm-hmm.
You want to give it a rattle at it?
Oh, do you want to hear it?
Ah.
Young boys and girls, no.
That's it.
I never saw it like, but I know it.
I thought I heard you sing it. I thought I heard you singing it one night, no?
That was Geordie's song. I never saw it. Although I know it, you know.
Would you mind the words?
I think I know it. Young boys and girls, wherever you be, please pay attention unto me. It's in these a few lines I have penned down, and all in praise of Lisburn town. Well, it happened to be in the harvest year, as I roved out, the day been clear. And when coming home these words I said, I am deep in love with the Lisburn maid. She is handsome, tall, and she's quite complete. She's like a Wexford girl from head to feet. My heart doth rent when I see her pass, for I'm deep in love with the Lisburn lass. Oh, but everything was going around until her parents on me did frown. Until her parents on me did frown, then I was forced to list in Lisburn town. Now, Willie dear, this maiden say, what has tempted you for to go away? I have left my parents of high renown, and I go with you from Lisburn town. Well, if ever I come this way, he said, by night or day, my pretty fair maid, I will gen the pass of high renown, and I'll go with you from Lisburn town. But it was off to India I had to go, for to fight and face the foe, not knowing when a ball it would cut me down and leave my love in Lisburn town. So it's farewell, father and mother too, likewise my darling I bid adieu. These cruel foes, they have cut me down, so goodbye love and Lisburn town.
Good for you. Who did Geordie pick that song up of?
I think he got that from an old man in Mahara. I heard him tell. Geordie, you know, we lived down near Mahara Ferry there, and
But you lived near James's?
Although we weren't reared there, we were reared up here near King's Island. But then, you see, my half brother, Ona Kama, he was the one that owned the house, you know. And then when he come to a certain age, then he was going to marry. So then we moved away down to near the fair.
Yeah.
My father had a wee lot down there, and they moved down there. So Geordie was a fisherman, of course, as you know, and fished on the loch. And that was that was just Mahari was just across like the river. You could stand where my mother, Lord have mercy on her, used to live. You could stand out on the road and
well,
just
where
look
would Geordie
across.
kept the boat? Would he kept it down at the fair?
Oh, I down at the fair.
Yeah.
Oh, Geordie was a great fisherman. He fished with Tommy John, and he fished with Big Henry McCourt and all them was down there. Tommy John and him was great friends.
Well, would Geordie have been fishing with the lines or out on the loch or something?
That's right. Aye. Why would surely? Well, Geordie knew the fishing inside out. Geordie was a man. He was a fisherman, and he could have walked in the moss, and he could have talked about fishing and football and greyhounds and cockfighting, and he followed all that whole game. Aye.
Would he want the cockfights too?
Oh, he loved the cockfights.
This seemed to be a good
My
cockfight.
my father, you know, he was a great man about the cockfights too. He was brought up with it.
Yeah.
Oh, he'd went to the cockfights surely. And even I'm sure some of his lads too would maybe have an interest in the gamecocks too. My brother there, Dick, that lives down there, he lives in Ahamull. He goes to the Yet. And Jimmy too there.
Unless you were in the know where, if you were in the know with them guys, you know where they were.
Oh yeah, why?
If you're a stranger,
oh no,
you wouldn't hear where it was.
It has to be kept a secret.
That's why you kept a secret. It's sort of like a Ku Klux Klan.
That's right, aye.
Oh, I mean, there was a wee by the house I worked at, and you'd ask him, he'd tell you, was it a cockfight yesterday, but he wouldn't tell you where it was.
No.
Not a hope.
There's a fella here called Joe McKee, I think you heard him.
He does a bit of reciting.
He does, and he knows a song too about the cockfights.
At Old Larbo.
I know,
at Old Clonode.
Aye.
Yes.
The Mean of Winds up there, aye.
I heard him singing that song in Killealan at the Tyrone Flag.
I'm sure you did.
But never heard him singing any other song.
In
fact, he was going to sing the other night, and then somebody else was called for a song.
Oh, I know, aye.
I didn't hear him.
He's a great man to recite a poem or do anything, Joe.
Martial stuff.
Very nice fella, Joe. Aye. He has a good. Somebody has a good way of doing it, you know. He has a good voice for it.
He has a good voice for it.
He has, aye.
Oh, he's a very nice singer too.
He is always a nice singer, aye.
But there's another very nice singer I thought too, and I'd only heard him there recently. It was James Hanna. Is he a first cousin of yours?
He's a first cousin. His father and my father were two brothers.
So even when we were down now, he only got time to sing his one song, The Bird of Our Ma.
Can he sing it?
But I thought he had a great style of it.
Oh.
And one time he had stopped, you know, for to take his breath, and says, he's stuck in it here, but he was only just taking his time. Great, no rush, and take his time and sing it well.
Oh, he's a great singer, isn't he? Did you get him on the video, did you?
I did. He sang that one song. Now I have to go back to him again. But you see, when I was listening to it on the video again, if you weren't watching it on the TV, just listening to him, you'd think it was Jordan.
That's right.
You hear him talking, they talk very alike.
Aye.
Him and Geordie sound very much alike for the talk. Maybe not so much in the singing then of it now, but in the talking you think it was.
Aye, don't his son George was playing the organ on them singing. That's right. He plays the organ in the chapel here.
Does he?
He takes the choir, aye, George. Very nice fella and nice singer as well. Aye.
I heard him then one on it there down in Mahara. Were you doing that now?
Oh, was I?
Well, that was a sort of a noisy.
It was too noisy in Irish.
Too many of it.
And God knows. And then the two rooms, it was out in one place and then in another place, and it was two.
It was a bit
too
on.
It was very too wasn't it? I didn't. Just to raise a bit of money for what it was for,
well,
you know.
I think it got a wee bit of money.
Aye, we did. That was the important thing, I suppose.
But for a group of singers, it's hard getting to get them into a house.
It's the best place of all, isn't it? Fiddler room, surely. Oh, aye. James has a great singer. And James had a brother George as well, another George.
Is that right?
Oh wow,
Is
he was
he
a lovely.
alive or?
He's dead.
He's dead,
Oh
isn't
God, he died very quick. He used to wedding the day before, and don't know what happened then. He died on a Friday night, Lord save us. I was in England at the time on a wee holiday, and a sister over there, and I couldn't believe my ears when I came off the boat on a Sunday morning. God bless me. Oh, he was a great character.
Is that right?
Oh, why he sung John Mitchell and oh, I couldn't tell you the rest of his songs, but he sung an odd one like you know, Beauty of Limerick, a Cushla McCree, and you know that they've heard that years ago. And they used to sing one about when I don't home in Ireland, my thoughts ever wander. Oh, I can't make the words of it.
I know there.
To my dear Irish home, I will never see more.
I heard somebody singing that recently. Had you heard singing it? Was it'd have been your mum Barry? Paddy Barry,
Maybe. For many a time in my Budden's back parlour, I drank a wee drop of the sparkling poteen. I had a great style of singing, George had, you know.
You don't remember all the words of that?
No, I don't. You know, I need to certainly. I'm sure his brother James knows the words of it now.
No.
And he used to sing My Beauty of Limerick. Oh, he sung it well.
I don't know that I've heard it. No.
Oh, I'm sure you have. I'm sure you heard My Beauty of Limerick, a Cushla McCree. What's this? I wouldn't mind the start of it now. No, Jordy would have known it too.
Well, James, he was telling us he was the last man to operate the ferry down there.
Ah, that's right.
He has some great stories about
He
it,
has.
too.
My Beauty of Limerick, a Cushla McCree. Did you ever hear that?
Ah, then.
Uh-huh.
Oh, great.
There you are. That's him ringing me now. Don't you let know.
Today, the ferry introduced the gypsies over the ferry.
Aye.
And I never got a bob with them.
I'm sure of that.
Uh,
Aye, oh, you wouldn't know. Uh-huh. Aye, what's this that song was from Beauty of Limerick? I place beneath my pillow each night as I sleep. My Colleen's last gift was... No. She gave me to keep a wee bit of ribbon she took from her hair, whereas the king has the jewel that's more precious or rare. In the morn when I waken, I press to my heart my Colleen's last gift, which I never shall part, for it comes from the nearest and dearest to me, my Beauty of Limerick, a Cushla McCree. That is one of George's songs.
it's a nice song too.
Aye, he made a good job of that.
Did he live down near the ferry?
He lived just James lives to the right and George lived to George lived in the house where my father and James's father, and they were all reared. He lived in the old Hannah homestead. Oh aye, he did surely. They were all singers. Now James's father was one of the nicest singers you were ever listened to in your life. Tommy John could tell you about him.
What was his name?
His name was George as well.
George as well, isn't it?
He used to sing in Mahary Choir. And I heard the people down there telling, I heard Tommy John Queen telling, that the people in Mahary Chapel on a Christmas morning at the first Mass would have been crying, listening to George Hannah singing.
Yeah, that's good advice.
And he sung solo, and he sung a hymn, and was called the Mahary Hymn, and no choir ever had it. Now, what do you think of that? And they went from far and near to Mary Chapel on a Christmas morning to hear George Thomas singing that. It's the loveliest style of singing. I'll never forget they used to go shooters till it. You know, they had guns and gun dogs like and all. They went out to shooting on Coney Island and Scally Island. And they used to come a load of shooters on a Boxing Day. And they would come from Portadown, the whites at Tamdragee, you know, the people that made the oats there, white, used to be, white, and a boy from Portadown, Cyril Ferris, and a fella Cullen, he was a dentist in Portadown. There was a crowd used to come on a Boxing Day with all their guns and dogs and all, and they would maybe have 2 or 3 bottles of whiskey with them whenever they come in off the loch, you know that. And George's wife Susan, she was a county Cavan woman, she was a great cook, and that's how my Uncle George met her. She come as a cook to Mahary Hotel in the years gone by. And that's James's mother, and Susan, she was the Lima Brady from Cavan, and she was a great woman and very friendly, and she would have a big pot of roast and stuff at the side of the fire and a pot of soup for them all coming in off the loch. And we would go down on Boxing Day to give her a wee hand, and you know, and we loved going because, Lord, it was just great. It was just great. We'd fight and fill off for who would go. And I'll never forget my Uncle George, that James's father standing up in the middle of the kitchen after coming in from the loch, and he never had the big thigh boots off him, you know, the big boots that they wear out. And Susan was putting out the dinner, and they were drinking the whiskey out of the bowls on the shelf. Two big glasses in the back. That's right. Just lifted and threw a drop of whiskey. And coming in after the loch, it was on a Boxing Day, it was, you know. It would have been there. And waiting on the dinner. And I think I seen it stand up in the middle of the floor. It was the first time ever I heard Patsy Fagan. I'm over here in Glasgow and I've got a decent job. You hear it many times. Mortar on my pay is 15 bob. I'm up in the morning early, I get up with the lark, and when I'm going down the street to hear the girls remark, Lord, he could have sung anything. You had to hear him singing the Bar of our Man.
Well, I thought I never heard it as well.
Oh, James sings as well. But his father was an outstanding singer. An outstanding. And I had an Uncle Peter, another brother. He went to America, and he come home once. All I could mind about him was his gold tooth. That's all I minded. I couldn't put a face on him now, don't you know? But I can always mind him laughing and seeing this gold tooth, and we just couldn't believe this thing, man with a gold tooth. And my old woman lived across the road from us, she was called May Camel, and she smoked a pipe, and she was in bed, and he went over to see her, and he had whiskey with him, and he gave her a drop of it and she says, "You sit down on the side of that bed now, and you sing me a song." And he sung for her in the room, and she was a good age of a woman then. Lord, that's a long time ago. I had only been about maybe 10 or 11 years old at the time. And I can mind him sitting on the side of the bed and singing for that little town in the old county down. Sure, if I had the wings of a swallow, I would travel far over the sea. Lord, he was a lovely singer too.
As good a singer as Uncle Jordan.
Oh, great. Great singer too. He sung in all the halls in America and won prizes and everything over there, like that's years ago, you know.
Jordan, you could have done nothing else when he sang. You were brought up with singing.
Brought up with singing, is right.
From all quarters.
Singing in our house was like a kind of a religion.
You'd often have done the rosary.
We love singing. That's the truth, I love it yet too. I wouldn't like to miss a session if I could get. It's just the getting sometimes, you don't always.
It's not just so easy.
No. See, when you don't drive yourself and you're dependent on somebody else, and maybe it doesn't suit them at that time, but you know. But I like the singing now.
I believe you had a great singing session at the Kaleidon Flower.
We had.
Up in the Remain, missed that now, he was away home.
Oh,
I believe it was a great night.
It was. It was a good night, all right, isn't it? Oh, anywhere where there's a lot of good songs sung, isn't that a good night?
It is.
Kaleidon Flower, the that Saturday night was very cold, and Sunday sure it rained all Sunday
rained all
afternoon.
day. That
It was
must
a
have
rotten
been
day,
damper on it.
wasn't it? And then
Well-
when they got into the venue and into these places, you couldn't get the musicians out onto the street.
No,
You know, well, you couldn't get them out on a Sunday anyway, for it rained all day.
it was very cold.
Ah, it was. For county flowers, sometimes, it's hard to get them.
Well, this last few years that road one has been as good as anything.
Aye, fairly good now. Well, that's sure.
Well,
And I'm getting too early now to go to flowers now.
Ah, not a bit of